Estamos por aterrizar en la Antártida.
We're about to land in Antarctica, a mysterious and unexplored continent.
Bueno, aquí estamos, hemos parado.
Here we are. We're stopping for a little bit to see what the scientists are up to.
Mi nombre es Rosario.
My name is Rosario Jimenez Gili. I'm a filmmaker and science communicator. Please join me on this journey.
La Antártica es un continente.
Antarctica is a very precious continent to the scientific community for being both a remote, unexplored land and a place to study signs relating to climate change. Thanks to the Chilean Antarctic Institute and the Research Center, Dynamics of Marine Ecosystems of High Latitudes, I'm lucky enough to accompany a group of scientists during the expedition known as ECA 55. We're right in front of the recently christened iceberg, Oscar. We'll be staying at King George Island at the Chilean research station Julio Escudero on the shores of Filde Peninsula. We're having lunch at Escudero Base. They made potato pie. How's the food, guys?
Are you having a good time in Escudero Base?
I saw firsthand what was required of scientific research, as well as all of the human aspects that are required for an expedition to Antarctica.
Less than a month.
Less than 1 month? Wow. Will it eventually melt?
Antarctica, the inhospitable white continent that we see today, was once a land of lush subtropical forests, full of palm trees, ferns, and conifers. Forests began to gain a foothold in Antarctica 298 million years ago, during a period known as the Permian, when the weather turned warmer and the glaciers of the Ice Age began to recede. In more recent eras, fossils have revealed the existence of other forests of ferns and conifers, home to the majestic dinosaurs who roamed during the beginning of the Jurassic period. How these forests, similar to ones we see in today's temperate zones, survived in the polar winter's darkness is a mystery scientists have not been able to solve. Pangaea was a supercontinent that formed during the end of the Paleozoic and early Mesozoic eras. Formed by the movement of tectonic plates 300 million years ago, it united all the continents into one. 100 million years later, it began to fracture and disperse, creating the continents we see today. 35 million years ago, the Southern Ocean is formed, when South America separates from Antarctica, allowing the merger of the Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans through Drake Passage. Here, the Antarctic Circumpolar Current is born.
Una de las corrientes marinas más.
One of the most important marine currents is the Antarctic Circumpolar Current, which carries water around Antarctica. Since there's no continental barrier in this region, we could say it's the only current that circumnavigates around the entire planet.
La corriente circumpolar antártica.
The Antarctic Circumpolar Current is the current responsible for connecting the major ocean bodies, the Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian Oceans. flowing eastward in a clockwise direction.
Entonces, esa corriente
This current is generated by wind, and it's by far the most intense current on the planet.
se
Very deep water is formed, known as Antarctic bottom water. This water mass, when it's in contact with the atmosphere, achieves a type of equilibrium, balancing CO2 and balancing other greenhouse gases. When this water ultimately sinks, it then takes those gases from the atmosphere and carries them to the ocean floor. As a result, it mitigates global warming and slows increases in atmospheric CO2.
CO2.
This is already my 6th day in Antarctica, and I must admit, it's the first that I'm really enjoying it.
Eran varios grupos de científicos.
There were several groups of scientists studying different aspects of climate change, from marine biology, glaciology, and oceanography, among other subjects.
Partiré compartiendo mi experiencia.
I'll start sharing my experience with a group of physical oceanographers, where I was lucky enough to embark on the Carpuch, a vessel belonging to the Chilean Antarctic Institute.
Bueno, el planeta Tierra,
Planet Earth, perhaps mistakenly known as Planet Earth, is mainly covered by water. Around 70% belongs to the oceans, and the Southern Ocean is one of them. My name is Andrea Piñones. I am an oceanographer and a professor at the Austral University of Chile in Valdivia. And in recent years, I have been dedicated to studying the oceanography of the Southern Ocean. This year, I started my own research project taking measurements of the currents within the oceanic circulation of Maxwell Bay.
We're about to board a ship called Carpool and see firsthand the research of Andrea Piñones and her team as we spend the night at sea.
So tomorrow we have to try to leave at dawn, at around 4 in the morning, so we can take CTD measurements. CTD is an instrument that measures ocean salinity, temperature, and depth. I'm Oscar Pizarro, and I'm an oceanographer.
La embarcación recorrerá.
The vessel will travel within 15 measuring points within Fieldes Bay, starting at the furthest point from the coast, near the passage of the Antarctic circumpolar current.
It's my first time doing this type of measurement here in Antarctica, and I always like new challenges. So I'm excited to be here.
El CTD es llamado así por sus siglas en
The
inglés.
CTD takes measurements of conductivity, temperature, and seawater depth, and also has sensors that measure oxygen and fluorescence. This allows us to understand how the surface of waters of the bay are being oxygenated and nourished, allowing for the existence of algae and other organisms responsible for producing photosynthesis. With this survey, we'll know how bodies of water change and how currents move water from other regions of the Antarctic.
The observations that we're taking will help validate the circulation model that we're studying. Once we know that the model works, that the simulations and projections are correct, we can then use that model to see the effects of climate change. We can see how the model changes due to the wind or air and ocean temperatures, giving us insight about the future circulation.
El océano Antártico.
The Southern Ocean is the first link that sustains life on this continent. Microorganisms, algae, and different types of animals live in this ecosystem, all connected and affected, in one way or another, by climate change. Understanding more about marine currents and their importance in the oxygenation of the planet gives us new insights on how to care for our ecosystem and the critical role played by the sea in the balancing of our planet.